Hello and welcome. This is John Bloom of Bloom Consulting. And today I'd like to discuss the Azure Machine Learning, which is on the portal for the Microsoft ecosystem. And basically the way it works is you go ahead and click on the plus sign, and from there you go to Data and Analytics, and from there you go to Machine Learning. And if you click on that button, what it'll do, it'll spawn a new window, and it'll go ahead and prompt you to create a machine learning project. So that's what I did. And from there, you can click on this Open in Studio. What that'll do, it'll open up this platform here. And from here, you can create experiments. You can create web services that are based on those experiments. There's notebooks and then data sets, which can be uploaded from a variety of formats. And then they have to train models and the settings. Now, you may ask yourself, what is machine learning? Well, it's a set of algorithms to do a variety of tasks with the data. Now, this is a good site here that I found. Somebody tweeted it, and basically, there's for the Microsoft Azure suite, there's probably 4 possibilities, and here is a good explanation of those 4. And basically, clustering, which is unsupervised learning in the sense that there's no labels or descriptive information to identify the data you're working with. You basically say, here's the data, go figure something out by clustering it and group it into similar stuff used for recommendation services. So the next one would be regression. What that means, you do label the data in the sense that the data contains descriptive information, and when you train the model, it picks up the patterns and it's able to predict future outputs based on inputs. So that's how that works. And then there's classification. And with that, there's a 2-class classifier, which is typically a binary, which is yes or no. For example, does someone have breast cancer, or is someone lying, or did someone die on the Titanic? So it's a yes or no. And then there's also a multi-class classifier that can predict multiple variables. And so that's how that works. And then the last one is the anomaly detection to pick up fraud, for example, data that doesn't match the data set in the sense that it's an anomaly, an outlier, and it's able to pick that up. So, luckily for us, with the Microsoft Azure, there's a gallery, and it's a suite of applications and test scenarios that you can actually load. So what I did was I went ahead and clicked on this binary classification Twitter sentiment analysis. And when I clicked on that, it went ahead and created a training experiment. It uploaded all the information in the sense that the project's already created. So if we were to dive into this project and explain what's going on here, we're not going to explain the ins and outs of R or some of these algorithms, but I just want to go over what it's doing. So what it's doing, it's actually reading in a data set, which is already provided for us, and it's in a TSV format. And I imagine that's similar to a CSV. Basically, it's a public data set. And then lastly, it's the data source is a blob, Azure blob storage. And as you can see, you can pull from Hive or a SQL table in Azure or a variety of other options. The next thing, this is R script. And as you probably know, Microsoft has acquired the Revolution R analytics, and that means that this R stuff's going to be embedded in a lot of applications. So the way that R works is that you have these data frames, and basically you import it using this command, and then you split it. So the first part of the data becomes the sentiment label, and the second part becomes the tweet text. And then they just filter out some information, convert it to lowercase, and then output it here. So they basically scrub the data a little bit, and then from there, they're basically looking at specific fields. So you launch the comp selector, and you'll see they're selecting the tweet text. So that's that. And then the feature hashtag is basically converting it from a text to a number. The split function says, give me this chunk of data and identify it with a percentage. So it's going to take 80% and flow that over here, and then it's going to take the remaining 20% and flow it over here. So, excuse me. Basically, it takes that data and it scores it, and then the 80% it brings over here to train the model. And it also does this thing called a 2-class support vector and that's a classification. It looks like it has a single parameter with a lambda. I'm not sure what that is. Random seed, and so the classification, like we said earlier, it's non-descriptive. So it's just going to take that and put it into chunks based on similarity, and then it goes to train the model, and it scores the model, and then there's another scored model, and then it evaluates the model. So what you can do is you can save that, and you can also run it. I did run it. It took about 16 minutes. Well, yeah, it looked like about 16 minutes. From there, you can actually set up a web service. And when you do that, it actually saves a copy and creates a new one. So that's what this predictive experiment is. So it went ahead and created it. And what it also did, you'll see it failed for some reason. But anyway, it creates an input as well as an output. Now this sucker ran for a while and then stopped working. So I have to figure out exactly what it is. If you view the error log, there's a bunch of information, and it says the data being scored must contain all features used during training, missing features. So I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that. But I did download the file, and basically it's got the header, which is here. Looks like it's delimited by this space, and then I'm not sure what this for is. And then here's the Twitter handle, and then the verbiage. So that's the file that it's reading in. So that's how it works. Now, essentially, once that web service is available, we'll be able to query that from a variety of sources through a web page or through this Excel plugin. So they have an Azure Machine Learning Excel Add-IIn, which I went ahead and downloaded, which is a zip file, and you unpack the zip file, and it looks like this with a release and a DLL. And from there, what you do is you open the command prompt as administrator, and you enter in this information here from here. So you got to drill in whether you're 32-bit or 64-bit. Depends. So this will either be framework or framework 64, and then you enter your path where the DLL is. And what that does, it registers the DLL, and then that becomes available in your options, add-in, go, and you'll see that the Azure Machine Learning Prediction showed up there. And if you click on automation, you'll see perhaps there it is, the ML prediction. So that's how it works, and that's as far as I got. But the next step in the trilogy will be to work with that data. So this is kind of a tutorial here. I had to enable the Excel add-in with a script, and then what you do is you click on the Azure Prediction Machine Learning. So how does that work? Well, click the equals, click this FX for function. From there, it recognizes the ML prediction, and then you can click on the OK button, and then what will happen, there'll be a series of prompts which you must fill out, and I haven't got that far yet, but that'll be next. So anyway, it's a cool feature. So there's a lot you can do with it, and you don't have to be a statistical PhD to work with this stuff. You just have to have some familiarity with the Azure and some of the basic functions which we talked about here. So anyway, thanks for watching, and look for more videos in the future. Thank you very much.